There's also another way of creating kits more quickly. If you had a bank of samples on a hard drive, for instance, that you wanted to use. Let's just say we go for a brand new kit, and again we're going to choose that smaller matrix that we were just looking at of 4x4. If I was to locate some samples on a hard drive, and let's say I have a folder here which contains several samples from a very old school drum machine called Korg Mini Pops. This is something that dates from the 70s. Let's say that I wanted to create some kind of retro beatbox kit, and I wanted to use all of these samples. All I need to do, let's just move that one out of the way, is select, I don't want that text file, drag and drop, and as you'll see, it automatically maps these to the various different pads. What might also be useful for me here is to color code these so that I can see that, for instance, my kick drums could be red, so I'm going to shift select and I'm going to assign a red cell color to those. My hi-hats could stay blue, whereas my snares, for instance, could be orange or yellow or whatever else. So as you can see now, this is the beginning of my own kit. The one problem that I have here now is that, having created this 4x4 matrix, if I try and trigger the sounds from the keyboard, you'll see that I play the first 4 notes from C1 up without any problem. But then, because I've created this smaller 4x4 matrix, I'm playing E1, F1, and I don't trigger any sounds. And the reason for that is this hi-hat is all the way up at C2. So the way the instrument defaults is that each of these rows has 12 pads, which would correspond to an octave on our keyboard. So we want to change that now, and this is very easy to do if we enable this MIDI icon right here. So let's say that, counting up from C1, I reach E1 and I want this to be my hi-hat, so I'm going to click on this pad. I'm going to click on the MIDI icon, and that waits to receive 2 messages now. All I need to do is trigger that key twice, and that's been assigned. And I'm going to count up the keyboard doing the same thing. Select the next pad, MIDI enable, click twice on the relevant key, and in this way I can trigger the sounds from my keyboard without having any gaps. So that's the process of loading kits and creating our own. And obviously what we would also then want to do is save this kit into our user library. I'm on a fresh install of Native Instruments Complete here, so as you can see, my user folder is completely empty. So what I'm going to do is create a new entry in that user folder, and it would be useful for us to know where the default folder is for these kits that we make. So assuming that we're working on a Mac, we'll find this in Documents, Native Instruments, Battery, and Kits, and as you can see, that folder is completely empty. So if we go back to our DAW and we save the kit up here, File, Save Kit As, and we can call this is our Korg Mini Pops 1, and I have some saving options down here, and what I'm going to do is, for simplicity really, I'm going to use this monolith option. And what monolith will do is create one file name which contains all of the settings for my instrument, but it also contains all of the audio as well. And this is quite a handy, useful way to work, assuming that you're not working on a massive kit that has an awful lot of sample material in there. This is a recommended way of working. It's certainly the way that I prefer. So I'm going to hit save, and there's my Korg. It's not completed yet, but I have my Korg Mini Pops kit, which, if I go to the user library now, and yep, there you can see in my kits I have Korg Mini Pops 1, and that should also appear in the right place right there. So that's the process of loading and creating kits.